What is up, guys? Archon, and I'm here bringing you guys another YouTube video. In today's video, I'm going to be going over how to get through Horrific Stormwind, full, no skulls. I'll probably do a skulls thing later on. I just wanted to show you guys. Last week was Orgrimmar, this week will be Stormwind. So basically, like I said, it's the same thing as before. Make sure you're down to at least Elite Extermination on the talent tree. The other big thing is that when you pull, you can pull big here. It's not going to hurt you too much. There are a couple packs you do need to watch out for, just like in Orgrimmar. The Footman, is it the Footman that does? Find out, hold on. No, I don't think the Footman does anything special. It's the Heart Piercers that do the weird little thing called Rend or something like that, I believe is what it's called. These guys don't stun, so you don't have to worry about any Void Speakers, you just have to LOS them. So it's the Heart Piercers? Oh, wait, what? Oh, they do have a fear. So the casters do have a fear. It's Psychic Scream, that's right. That's why I'm getting feared right now. I wasn't even thinking. Sorry about that. So see the Footman casting Repel? You have a hard stun, you can knock him out of that, but while he's repelling, if you're just easing into visions, you do not want to hit him, because every time you hit him, it bounces the damage back at you. So always keep in mind that the Footman will mess you up pretty good. Shadow Shift, just don't get in it. It's a straight shot. He teleports behind you and then he'll do it, so it'll come from behind most times. Here, lots of treasure. Lots of free little mementos. I think there's a guy in that room. Kill for a buff. The buffs are, there's buffs like Stormwind or Orgrimmar. They're more spread out, and I'm not entirely sure where they're all at yet. Are you kidding? Okay, he's just mind flaying me. Either I'm getting it from the mind flay guy. Okay. I was hoping that I could get around the wall and they wouldn't be able to see me and they'd be walking over. I don't know if the eyeball canceled it the first time. Oh well, don't do that. Don't ever do that. I'm just being greedy. Okay, giant tentacles in the chest. Can't see it. I don't know. No buff. I'll have to figure out where the buffs are at in here. Angry Bear Rugs. Huh? Is that a buff? Nope, not a buff. And we went too far. Sorry, I got distracted looking at buffs. But we have the Heart of the Titans, so we're not really going to take too much sanity damage. And if we mess up a little bit, the proc rate on it's kind of high to where you can ignore a lot of things and make mistakes here and there. That's why I really like it. That's why I said if you can't get down there and you can get Elite Extermination, at least get Elite Extermination before trying a full clear. Even if you're with a group and you guys all went right side, it might still be beneficial to have. Just because you'll get 200 sanity back whenever your group kills something. So normally I would do a bigger pull here. The treasure chest is there and I really want those mementos so I can finish out my board and that. So we'll do a big pull here. I don't think there's any casters, it's just a lot of physical damage. We'll grab this guy now. So what he does is he jumps around. You just don't want to be under it. Oh, he's supposed to jump around. There it is. You just don't want to be in the circle when that goes off because it drains your sanity. He'll do it like a couple times and he'll jump to the furthest target every time. So if you're in a group, keep that in mind. There we go, heart activated again. No sanity damage. So what you're supposed to be doing, you're supposed to be planting bombs, but again, I'm going to do a quick full clear. And then we'll plant the bombs. It's just easier that way. There. Now we'll work our way back around. So classes with high mobility have a better chance of, getting through this a lot quicker, obviously. You can mount up, but I don't advise it. Oh, this week is the weird thing that follows you. It's not the thing from beyond, but it's just as bad if it touches you. So I would say I would give you guys weekly tips for the affixes, but unfortunately it changes week by week. Like last 2 weeks where if you moved and you had this debuff on, you'd create a fire pool under you. I'm sure you guys noticed it who came into these meetings. But this week it's different. It's the Grand Illusions, which basically runs at you. cleaning guys up here. I don't know where that other bomb's at. Oh, there it is. Duh. There he is. If you're lucky, you can get a plant explosions off before they hit you. Saves a little bit of time. But if it doesn't, then you kind of waste time. Obviously, having to recast again is not good. No mailbox. Oh, mailbox. We got the mail muncher from Orgrimmar. I don't know if there's one in here. Some friends were saying there was another one. Okay, hit the detonation switch. Normally I'd be way ahead by now, but kind of taking my time a bit. Hey. Should be using army more often too. Oh, why not? Let's pop army. He's already halfway dead. By the time they get up, it'll be late. So for this guy, you just don't want to stand in front of him and don't stand in the where he's on the ground. Like I did, I accidentally stood right in his face, so he hit me with all that. So normally what you do is you take the portals back, but in Stormwind it's a bit quicker just to shoot across rather than take the portals. You don't have to kill the tumors, they don't put you in combat. The rats you will have to kill. But if you have a lot of burst, they're not too bad to do. Okay, all gone. 4.5k. So when you first come in here, you'll have to deal with 2 people that will attack you. I want to say one of them has a stun. The hunters have a stun, maybe? Find out. I always get the Stormwind mobs mixed up. Okay, for this guy, you just don't stand in the swirly while he's casting. There's no way to death grip him either, so you just have to kind of deal with it. And Roaring Blast is just a straight shot. Don't be in front of it. And it alternates between those 2 abilities. So if you don't get him down fast enough, you have to walk back out. Again. Big boy pulls. There is some nasty things in here that you gotta be careful of. They do stun you. See the Touch of Abyss mobs? It's the informants that cast that now. Whereas before in Orgrimmar it's the Dominators. Just make sure that you have some type of immunity up when they start casting. You definitely do not want to be on the other side of a Touch of the Abyss and not have some type of removal for it. You'll lose a lot of time. In most cases, it might even just outright kill you. So some days, the guys in here will give you a buff. Once you kill them, the bartender comes over and then you fight him and you get a buff for it. I think the ones in Orgrimmar are a bit better because they're usually haste and other fun things. Come on. I'm gonna grab this chest before. So the affix in the level 3 zones, or the lost zones if you will, are something, I can't think, it's called Leadfoot, where if you're in combat, the more you move around, the slower you'll get, and once you reach like 20 stacks, I believe it is, you get a haste debuff on you. Lose a lot of haste. It definitely sucks to have. See, I'm already at 11, I already have it. Okay, so it's every 10, sorry, not 20. Something does happen at 20, I think it just resets at 20. We're gonna pull this guy, and the reason we're pulling him is because I can kill him really quick. That, boom, dead. And we get 200 sanity back. Go ahead and grab these guys. Okay, or not, because the players are LOSing me. Again, the big thing about a full clear is if your class has AoE, like I said in Orgrimmar, you definitely want to take advantage of that and pull big in solos. Like, the more people you have in your group, the higher it's going to scale, so the harder it's going to be to carry a group. Comments, I can't interact. Interact with the chest. He's going to hit me. And then stun me. Should be dead. So again, if you search the mailbox, there's sometimes a rare mount you can get. Letter encrusted boy glove. Oh boy. Shouldn't lose my set here, but this thing is taking. Have time. So normally what I would do is I'd actually pull Shaw and then drop the orb, but I didn't have enough time to do that. Like we're just gonna have to pull Shaw normal. So the trick to this one is just do not look at the eye. Always have your back to it if you can. Army up. Why am I hitting the eyeball? I just realized I had so many stacks on the eyeball. Always have your back. More of them will spawn as the fight goes on. So the trick here is to kind of always try to keep them to your back. When their cast ends, they'll move. That's a good time to try to like rotate your camera. Just so that way you can kind of position them in the way you want to, because they're always going to try to be in front of you and hitting you. But again, if you have the damage, you just burst him down and you're good to go. Going here. Into the next wing. We'll have 2 orbs, which is pretty nice. The other hunters. So one thing to keep in mind is you cannot cross back into other zones as long as you have aggro from another zone. What I mean is, like, normally when you're out here, you lose less sanity. But because I still have aggro from something in the 3rd zone, I'm going to be taking the sanity loss as such, so now I'm affected with promised power. Whereas before I wouldn't have been. So always keep that in mind. You don't lose aggro just for leaving the zone. Or you don't lose the sanity loss. This one here is pretty easy. Tentacle, just stay on top of it and kill it, and it won't teleport around the screen. Oh well. We'll let him go. And then we'll come down here, fight this guy. So the only thing you have to worry about here is Agonizing Torment. That's the sanity drain from this elite mob. Make sure you always have an interrupt. You can hard stun him, I believe. And, oh, you can't pull him. Okay, maybe you can hard stun him, but you can't pull him. Death Grip is really gimmicky sometimes. But yeah, make sure you always have an interrupt for that, otherwise you'll lose a bit of sanity. Advantage of the big pulls. Go ahead and start clearing this stuff out before we go to that guy. So sometimes the guild bank here will be open, and you can go in the back and there'll be a thing back there you can fight, like, I think, what is it called? Forgotten Guild Bank or whatever. Something like that. But you fight it, you kill it, and you get a versatility buff, which is pretty nice. This week, or today, for this vision, it's not open. Let me know, guys, if you have any questions down below. I'll answer them in the comment section. It's a little easier if I answer your guys' comments instead of trying to, you know, throw everything out all at once. So for this guy, if you have any type of magic immunity, use it. It prevents the chains of solitude or servitude from going on you. Because if they go on you, you basically get silenced and pulled into them. But if you don't have to deal with it, it's better not to. Hitting me. The eyeball. Okay. I wasn't sure if the eyeball could actually knock you out of things. I guess it can. No, I'm not in combat, which is interesting. So now we just run around and rescue all the yellow dots. Like I said, a lot of mobility for Stormwind. Orgrimmar, it's more of a fighting zone. You don't really have to worry about that as much. Don't do it. It teleported. Ooh. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, put down in the comment section and I will help you guys out the best I can. I'm trying to go over everything. Stormwind, I'm a little less familiar with compared to Orgrimmar. It did take me some time to get the Stormwind clear down, just because I do think Stormwind is that much harder than Orgrimmar. Like I said, some of it's just all the running around you have to do. You lose a lot of sanity just running back and forth, sadly. Like, you can mount up. In some cases, it is worth it. In some cases, it's not. So classes like, you know, Monk or Mage, they have a really good time in here because they can just blink around, and usually it's within 2 blinks or 2 rolls or whatnot. And by the time you need it again, it'll already be up. Go jump around. I like how the corrupted tumor's hitting me. The tumors do not give. I don't think they give. Oh, they do give. They didn't use. But maybe they hotfixed it. I don't remember the corrupting tumors ever giving any type of mementos, which is why I wasn't clearing them. But maybe they hotfixed it to where now they give 1. But for the tendril, we're just gonna pull it down. It comes to us, and we don't have to worry about it. We have to run up to it and fight it. You can kind of use that against the mobs too. Should be dead. So for this zone, why am I still in combat? What am I in combat with? Whatever. So for this zone, it's Leadfoot again. So every time you move while you're in combat, you get that stacking debuff, and at a certain amount, you end up getting the haste debuff, which is not good. But unfortunately for this guy, you kind of do have to move a lot because the swirlies that pop out around him. Like I said, corruption on me. So the main goal here is to shut down these portal masters. You really don't have to kill anything else in the zone but the portal masters. They don't look the same. There's different versions. As you can see here, this one's like a giant squid dude. And the one over here on my right should be a person. See, it's a person now. The Void Speakers, again, top priority. Is they do the Psychic Scream. Will fear you. Is get rid of the tendrils. We kind of have to work our way this way because there is a general on the backside. Even though is he showing? No, it's a void portal. Okay, so maybe the general is considered one of the void portal mages. Yeah, he's considered a void portal mage. So there's two generals in the rank 3 zones, or the lost zones, and then the secondary zones, there's only one general usually. So always keep that in mind. If you clear a zone, this guy is going to sit inside a Rain of Fire. I can't get him out because I don't have an interrupt. I'll wait till the next time he casts Rain of Fire and then do it. So what happens is he likes to cast Rain of Fire on top of himself or wherever you're standing. So if you engage him, like at point blank range, he'll cast it on top of himself. And you can't go in there because you'll take sanity damage. You gotta wait till an interrupt comes up. If you're ranged, it's not that big of a deal because you can burn him down. Okay. So again, Portal Keeper. There's no need to move, don't bother moving. Probably interrupt that. Doesn't really do a lot to me, but... Oh yeah, I'm in combat. Trying to figure out why the stacks are going up, not realizing that the Flesh Beast is literally biting me in my back. I'm gonna do a full clear. We still have our reset. We'll have one extra orb going into the final boss, and that's pretty good. That's about what you'll want. I'm not as upset about using my orb here. Big dude now for the Portal Master. Boomers. Okay. Might actually have to use my reset here in an accident. I'm gonna use my reset, I think. That's fine. I can use my reset. It lets me save an orb. The only thing that sucks is that if I happen to screw up on the final boss, I don't have a safety net. It wasn't really my plan to use it there. I would have liked to have used the orb, but I got into combat with the Flesh Beast from around the wall, apparently. So that happens. You'll notice the potions on the ground. I'm not too sure about the potions. I haven't really experimented with them. There's a mailbox. Not a mailbox, I'm sorry, I lied. It's a fake mailbox. The distraction, that's what it is. So again, guys, I know my tutorial for Stormwind isn't as good as my Orgrimmar one was. Like I said, I'm not as comfortable with Orgrimmar, or I'm not as comfortable with Stormwind. Orgrimmar I'm 100% comfortable with. So I apologize for that. We'll use Army here on him. He's got 2 casts you need to deal with, the missiles, and then he'll do a polymorph on the second set. And if you have a way of dealing with the polymorph, like Spell Shield or any of that, that'll work. You can use your interrupt, see if there's a tainted polymorph, will AMS it. And once he hits certain HP thresholds, he'll do this. He'll bounce to the other side of the room. And he'll cast Frozen Storm. Just don't get hit by it. Once you get within a certain range of him, he'll stop casting. He'll go back to the other side now. He does it 4 times. Oh, it's 2 right and 2 left. I think is what it is. No, maybe it's right, left, right, left. Or, sorry, right. Ah, I'm about to get sheeped. Sorry. Yeah, I got distracted by being sheeped. I should have probably just interrupted and killed him. But we get 200 back. So I think it's right, left, right. So he only does it 3 times. Sorry, misspoke. And this time we will take the portal back because there's no reason to obviously run through the zone. We've cleared everything out and grabbed everything. Promise power again. So again, what I'm going to do is grab everything I can here. I'm surprised there wasn't a buff in the first zone. Wait, did I get any of the buffs? I didn't find any of the extra buffs. That's interesting. I must have overlooked something. Oh no, I did get one of the buffs. Hold on, we did get one. We got the bar one, which I think falls off on death. And since technically I did die when I had the resuscitate, see there's the repel. So if I hit him with abilities, as you can see, my HP bar is like draining. You don't want to do that unless you have the HP pool to just punch through. Always have like a hard interrupt or a movement ability to disrupt him. So I guess this was the room that had the buff in it. I just didn't stick around long enough to get it. So I'm guessing there's gonna be a rare spawn that pops. This is the first time I've been in this room. Get a rare spawn in a minute. Oh, there it is. So Bear Spirit increases haste by 10%. Always look for the open doors in the zones because they'll usually lead to a buff. I got a 15% increased move speed and I still move slow. Army should be up here in a minute. We're about before we start fighting. Nice to be close. She has a lot of dialogue, so if you're trying to like fight her last minute, make sure that you start the dialogue when you come in. You have plenty of time to organize and do what you're gonna do, drop an orb before the fight starts. It does darken sky, which you don't want to be in, but if you have max sanity and you're sitting in an orb, it shouldn't hurt you too much. Big problem with this fight is sometimes she won't move. Oh, there's Chains of Servitude. So she won't summon extra eyeballs. Her Chains of Servitude are a little bit wider, so if you're melee, you want to make sure that you're on the outer ring here, as you can see on the ground. She'll also cast Void Eruption. It's got to LOS it around a pillar. Big thing. The eyeball will continue to chase you around the room, so always just try to keep it on your back. Trying to look at it. Okay, there it goes. It teleported, so now I want to be here. I think they might have fixed her AI, because before, when I would come in here, she would actually cast the eruption and then wouldn't move from the center of the room no matter what. So it made it almost impossible to deal with her unless you could just, burst her down before your sanity ran out from, standing in the fire, everything else that was going on. This is my 4th run of the week. I will be getting my cloak up to, I believe it's 11? Or is it 12? Yeah, it's 11. Got some good things. Void. Mind Flay. That would be nice if, it was a, I didn't have a 470 equipped. So yeah, I'm a little overgeared for Stormwind. What is the orange? I wonder. So anyway, just a quick recap. I believe this wing is the bombs. So you want to plant all the bombs, clear out all the mobs. The general or the lieutenant in this zone will do a leap to you. Just make sure you're not in the circle. If you're in a group, it'll leap to the furthest person, I believe, most times. And then the guy that you fight, the big boss, what you fight down here is, he just throws out things on the ground, barrels. Don't be in the circle when they go off. Don't stand in front of him after the barrels go off because he casts something in front of him. And it will take your sanity if you're standing in front of him. This zone down here, you basically push all the way through to the right side, and then you fight Matthias Shaw. Matthias Shaw, just make sure that you're always at a spot where the eyes that are jumping across the room are always behind you and not looking at you. Otherwise, you lose sanity when they're looking at you, and you lose quite a bit of it if you get multiple eyes. Because as Shaw's HP goes down, he summons more and more of them. So if you can, try to burst him down as fast as possible. I would recommend some big cooldowns on Shaw. He's just one of those people that you have to get down, otherwise you lose a lot of sanity. It can actually kill it can kill your run. The lieutenants for Shaw's zone are the one rogue that you've seen earlier with the giant circle around her. She'll cast the giant circle, and don't be in it. She sits there in channels. There's no way to interrupt it. So if you're melee, you kind of just have to sit there and use your whatever ranged ability you have. And then once it's cast, she'll aim where you're standing or where you were, and she'll shoot her gun, kind of like what the dwarf does from the last zone. Don't be in front of it, otherwise you lose a bunch of sanity. And that's pretty much it for that lieutenant. The second lieutenant of the zone, I'm not really sure what he does, because he kind of just melts. I think he throws down void circles on the ground. Don't be in the circles and you'll be okay. I'm pretty sure that's what he does. He just melts instantly, as you could see when I was fighting my way through Shaw's quarters. That's what happened. In the middle zone here, You basically kill the guy, the lieutenant on the left side. All he does is cast Tormenting Agony. If you have an interrupt, be sure to interrupt it. Otherwise, it'll take your sanity and just leave him down. Just rush him down. Nothing too hard. And then when you get to the actual boss of the zone in the middle here, he does the Chains of Servitude, which will pull you in and silence you. So if you have any type of, magic suppression ability like AMS or spell warding for paladins, or even Cloak of Night for rogues off the top of my head, you can pop that before it goes off or as he's casting, and he won't be able to silence you. He'll still probably pull you in with AMS and cloak and spell warding, but you'll at least be able to do damage to him. And the big thing about it is don't be within the blue ring on the ground. You'll see like a small blue ring around the boss. Just as long as you don't get pulled into it, you can still DPS him outside the ring as melee. It's big enough. But just make sure you don't get pulled in, otherwise you'll take a bunch of sanity damage. And then from there, it's just rescuing all the people, freeing them from the cages, and then you go on to the next zone. Pretty easy. So the Mage Quarter, you have the two generals. The first one is near the back portal mages, basically where the Mage Tower entrance is. So you kill him. All you got to do to kill him is just kind of move around. That's the big thing. Just move around in a circle. It should be fine. I know you get Leadfoot and you get the haste debuff, but there's really nothing else you can do. You definitely don't want to lose the sanity from getting hit. Not recommended. And he casts, I think, something in front of him, so as long as you're moving in a circle around him, you'll miss the cast every time. Cleave him down. And then the big thing is to also kill all the portal masters, the yellow dots, which you've seen me do. If you need reference, they don't change. They're always in the same location. If you ever need reference, be sure to check the video and go back to the Mage Quarter portion. You'll be able to see where they're all at. I like what I do with my route, where I just go down from the left side here and come all the way around, kill the first two on the back side, go to the other elite. It's a good way to refresh your sanity, because you get your 400 sanity back pretty much instantly. And then you can work your way to the other portals in the center, and then, go up to the Mage Tower and fight Umbric. So the other lieutenant that I didn't cover in the Mage Quarter was the caster. So he, when you first engage him, will cast with Rain of Fire. And I believe it's cast wherever he's standing, oddly enough. Maybe it's where you're standing, but every time I fought him, no matter what, it seems to always be on top of him. So you can't be in the Rain of Fire, otherwise you lose sanity for being in it. So the big thing you want to do is you want to wait for him to cast it, and then interrupt the next Shadow Bolt. If you're melee, it'll pull him out towards you. And most cases, he'll get a second one off, so save your next interrupt for after Rain of Fire. There's no reason to interrupt the Shadow Bolts. They don't really do a lot to you. That's the big thing with him, and like I said, just close all the portals by killing all the guys. And once you're done with that, you go back to the Mage Tower entrance, you go all the way up, and you'll run into Umbric. And like I said, for Umbric, the key is, once you DPS him, he'll jump to a side of the room. I don't know if this is random or if it's consistent, so I don't want to tell you he'll jump to the right side like he did in my case. You may have to test that a little bit. I'm pretty sure it's consistent, though. I don't want to 100% guarantee it is, but I'm pretty sure he always goes right, left, right. So keep that in mind when you're DPSing if you want to pull him to the right side of the room. Or maybe it's whatever's the furthest side from you. That might actually be what it is. But because I was in the middle of the room, it just kind of 50-50'd. I think that might be what it is. But at certain HP thresholds, he'll jump to the other side of the room. He'll cast the blizzard thing on the ground. Don't touch it. Just walk towards him, and eventually he will stop casting it. You cannot cast on him because the staircase actually causes an LOS. Really interesting how they decided to set up the platform there. You actually do have to walk to him even if you're a caster to get him off the platform, or at least be in cast range. The other two things that he does is Tainted Polymorph, which if you have a spell shield like AMS or Spell Ward or Cloak or Rogue again, you can skip interrupting that and just eat it and it won't turn you. It's a 2-second polymorph. You definitely don't want to be hit by it. It's a big loss, especially being in that zone where you're getting your sanity drained. He does Entropic Missiles. That's the one you definitely want to interrupt because it takes your sanity. The Polymorph doesn't take your sanity. The Polymorph just, you can't do anything for 2 seconds. So if you have to eat it. The missiles definitely do hurt. So once you're done with that, you go back to Valerna. And like I said, you have plenty of time. Don't drop your orb outside the room. You can actually run into the room because she has dialogue, whereas Thrall doesn't have any dialogue. You just immediately start the fight with Thrall. That's a big change from Orgrimmar to Stormwind. What she'll do is she'll have the eye from Shaw. Only one. She will not gain any more, so all you have to do is worry about keeping the one eye behind you. She'll cast the barrel explosion from this zone here, so don't stand in the barrels. If you're range, it's probably better to kind of keep them on the outside of the room. What he gets from this boss is Chains of Servitude. She will cast it one time throughout the encounter, and her ring around her is bigger than the original boss that casts it, so keep that in mind. If you're using Spell Warding, it's still within range of the melee to hit her, but it's really close to being considered inside the circle and taking sanity damage. So do your best not to. If you have any type of movement stopping abilities, like you can't be pulled or rooted or whatever, I would pop that. Maybe it'll help you. As for Umbric, she just casts the Tainted Polymorph from his encounter, so make sure to always interrupt Tainted Polymorph. There's no reason not to in that fight, because there's nothing else you can interrupt against her. Always save your interrupts for that. And then she'll also cast her own ability, the Explosion. She'll teleport to the center of the room, and then she'll start channeling. As long as you hide behind a pillar to where she can't see her, or to where you can't see her and she can't hit you, you will be fine. Wait till the cast goes off. The eyeball will still be tracking you during this, so keep that in mind. Always try to make the eyeball face behind you no matter what. So if it happens to jump during the pillar, just face the opposite way while she's casting the eruption, and you should be fine. And that's pretty much how to deal with Valerna. Sometimes she'll bug out, like I said before, and just sit in the middle of the room after casting eruption, even if she can't hit you with anything. It's really dumb. Luckily there it didn't happen, and I was able to get her to move out of the center of the room over to the opposite side, so I didn't have to worry about standing in the fire. If that does happen, the best case scenario I can give for you guys, you can either sit there and try to interrupt the Tainted Polymorphs and hope that she eventually moves, or you can risk it if you have a revive still and burn all your big cooldowns and try to burn her as fast as you can. It's not really an issue for range, it's more of an issue for melee. Truth be told, I think Stormwind is probably better for ranged in some cases than it is for melee, and Orgrimmar is better for melee than it is for range, just because of how some of the mechanics work. Anyways, guys, like I said, if you have any questions down below, I know this wasn't the greatest walkthrough, like the Orgrimmar one was more thought out. I apologize for that. Hopefully the end summary for Stormwind at least kind of cleared some things up, in case you had questions. I tried to go over what each lieutenant did and what each boss did and some tips. I tried to point out key mobs to look out for as well in the video. Always look out for Rend whenever you see it in the first couple zones. Make sure to have a hard CC so that way you can stop the cast, because otherwise you'll just kill yourself with it because it just reflects damage back to you. The casters have Psychic Scream, always interrupt them. You can pull them big and it won't be that big of a deal as long as you focus the casters down first and then deal with the Ren guys, because the Ren doesn't really do anything, they just sit there and do nothing. It's more you bouncing damage onto yourself. But anyways, if you guys have any questions at all, please feel free to ask. I will answer them the best I can. Again, this is a no mask run. The next set of videos will be with the masks individually, so it'll be starting with Orgrimmar. I don't think I'm going to start with Stormwind. But anyways, thanks for watching, and hope you guys enjoyed the video, and see you guys in the next video. Later.